My guest is on the line, born in Melbourne to a fairly average family, she says. She's giggling in the background. She's never had any spiritual connection, no insight or communication, but was always curious about spook stuff. And then she left a marriage of 20 years, explored herself. Yes, because you're exploring what's really your mind, I guess you're exploring, and where she fitted in as Roz. She did so many courses and at times was criticised for it. Hello, I know that feeling. What she found out was that she combined bits of all courses. Welcome to the Radio Fremantle. Roz Tilley, all the way from, you've got to tell me what town you're in, because you're in country Victoria, aren't you?
Warburton in Victoria, yes.
Warburton, that's a beautiful place.
Yes.
I've been there. I've done some dowsing there, some courses.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think it was Warburton. We went to, I've been to Wood End as well, and we did classes there as well.
Yes.
Yeah, with Eric Dowsett, believe it or not, he's a dowser with a surname like Dowsett. My surname is Baker, but I'm not a baker. I mean, I do bake, but, you're a Tilley. So do you till the land?
Well, it's interesting because people associate me with the soap Tilley, tilling the land. That was quite interesting as a thought, yes.
Hey. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So you're coming to Perth. Tell us about what you're coming to Perth for.
Well, I'm coming on because I've got oracles and a book and a tarot in print.
Yeah.
I do all of the Mind, Body, Spirit festivals. So they do every woman in Perth.
Yes.
So my distributor's coming with a stand. So obviously I support him in all of those festivals. So we're going to come to Perth this year and give it a try.
Yeah.
And I will be able to do readings. So if anybody wants a reading done, they would need to get in fairly quickly because we will be busy, I'm sure.
And you've also done Geomancy, Feng Shui, and you've got vibrational essences as well.
Yes, I have.
That's how we met.
As you well know.
We met at Conscious Living when you came there a few years back,
Yes.
Before the pandemic. And
a lot of things have changed since then. I'm now exporting my essences into Japan, as with one of my decks of cards.
Yeah.
So the essences, it was a long plan. It was an 8-year from start to finish to get them in to Japan.
Yeah.
And they're very meticulous with everything, and you've got to make up the essences with salt in it, because without salt they've got to have a liquor license to sell them over there. So it's a really drawn out process. Fortunately, I muttered and plodded along because it's always been my dream. So back and forward, 7 trips to Japan, and finally the orders were signed. So I've got 45 base essences. They go with the deck of cards, which is a shadow deck of cards.
Wonderful.
Yeah, look, it's so exciting. And then I've got a land set, which is the Geomancy set of essences.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've got a multi-dimensional healing set of essences.
Well, tell us about...
The main thing about those is I've got over 400 essences, which can all go into a set box.
Okay.
So you're not necessarily tied down to that same 8 essences. Why would you buy a box of essences? Well, it's to fix your own land. It's to fix yourself. They all totally interact. People think that if you buy a land set, it's got to go on the dirt. No, it doesn't. It is just merely the main 8 that I would sell you to fix your piece of dirt.
Tell us a bit about what geomancy is and what these essences do. Like what could be troubling on the land for someone?
It's easier to say you go to a house and you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So you would ring me and say, look, I don't feel comfortable. We've moved into this house where our finances are shot. And you look through, well, why is this so? Yes, they've just bought a house. Did they stretch themselves financially? Is that what's going on? Or is there a problem to the shape of the house, which is your feng shui side of it? Or is there an issue in the dirt? Now, what we've got to look at is that ancient energies, anything that's happened on the dirt stays there until it is cleared. When you think of it in that light, if there's been an argument and somebody's been just simply pushed, punched, that energy falls to the dirt and it is captured in the ground. Till that is lifted, it's there permanently. If you've had somebody raped or murdered, that is in the dirt. And I found that over and over again. The energy is one of cold, damp, shuddery energy.
Yeah.
Now, possibly people are going to say, oh, she doesn't live in WA. Okay, if people want me to come back and do their land, I will fly in. I will become a FIFO. I've just done that recently in Queensland and Sydney. But if they're not fussed whether I set my feet on the dirt, I can send them over their very own personal kit.
Okay, right.
So there's more than one way to skin a cat here.
And do you do distance as well? Can you do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. People would ring me and say, look, I feel really uncomfortable. This is going on, that's going on. And fortunately for me, I have an extremely good setup with Spirit, whoever you wish to confer, as I connect with Spirit and they will tell me what's going on. So I get a real vision. And it'll be things like, tell me what's going on the back left-hand corner. There's some sort of a circle there. And they'll go, oh, my goodness, yes, you're right, the grass doesn't grow there, or I feel really uncomfortable, or the dogs won't go there.
Yeah.
So you know immediately that something is wrong. I will then explore that energetically and say, well, look, I feel it needs this essence or that essence. So to give you an idea, kyanite is what I call cutting-edge technology. So that cuts out whatever's wrong in an area. Crocoite is chaos. I then have another two that I use on every property I do, which is buffalo, and that is the mother that delivered the white buffalo calf in America, one of the first white buffalo calves in America. That just dumps energy immediately, puts a grid line up, and then I match it with Hope. That essence came from WA. So that was a seated eagle, and I sat in the cage with him and he gifted me a feather. So that is a really personal one. Now, he has since passed away, and I was honoured enough to be able to put his ashes back to the earth. When I say my essences are incredibly powerful, that's the sort of energy that I'm working with.
Okay.
And Spirit has gifted that to me. I don't underestimate how fortunate I am. I listen when I'm told to do something. My main message to people who are sitting out there thinking, oh, I'd love to be doing that, but how? What I would say to them is, if they are given a message and they know it's come from Spirit, follow it through to the letter, because it will be Spirit testing you. And I know this because I was told to put back my wedge-tailed eagle essence to the earth, and I sobbed as I did it. I would never have been given that opportunity to sit in a cage with Hope and pat a wedge-tailed eagle.
Wow.
Wow's right. I sat there with tears pouring down my face. It still makes me emotional now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't underestimate what that gift was that I was given.
Beautiful.
And it's listening to what you're told to do.
I find that whenever I'm travelling by myself, I get a lot more messages. And when I was at Uluru in April at Easter, and I got messages. Whereas if I was travelling with a companion, we might have been chatting or something like that, and you just don't.
And missed it.
You miss it, yeah. And so going out in nature and travelling by yourself, and talking about the eagle, when I was driving to Perth, from Perth to Broome some years ago, twice a wedge-tailed eagle came out from the bush near, because I was asking, where do I go to from here? And I'd left Port Hedland, and then there's this huge eagle that came across the road to the left. Well, around the bend was 80 Mile Beach. And I went, okay, that's where I'm going next. And I did a meditation there, and there was a group of young women they were doing their sabbatical leave from Europe. They were a Swiss, and none of them really knew what they wanted to do the rest of their lives. They were just travelling.
Yes.
So we did a meditation on that. And then I was prior to that, when I was at Karajini, it's like, oh, I'm over this. I'm really, it's not safe for me to just walk through the canyons by myself. I should be with someone. And this eagle, and I'm walking back to my car, and this eagle came out of the bush again and flew across, and I went, okay. So I went that way, and there's a woman that I'd met, and she had 2 children with her. I'd met her at the tourist centre the day before, and she said, oh, no, don't go home. Come with us. I've got a 4-wheel drive.
Oh, wow.
And it's just amazing how nature can talk to you if you're willing to listen. But we're so busy, aren't we? We just get so busy with our lives.
We don't take that time out. Like the other day, and I would never have done this 5 years ago, but I had not a praying mantis, the shorter, fatter one. Katie did, is it called? Something quite strange. Anyway, it was on the front door, and I just bent down and I just coaxed it. Well, I didn't coax it. It was actually quite happy to just get onto my hand. And it ran up my shoulder, it ran near my face, and it was just like, oh, my goodness, look at this.
Beautiful.
We do just need to take time to sit and listen.
Yeah, and the other thing I find quite often, not that often, thank God, that if I see a cockroach in my house, I always go, okay, so who's been in my house, or who have I just met that is being a bit of a cockroach? And so I'll go, okay, and then I just don't follow through with that energy, whatever that is.
Yes.
It's like...
But there's so many of those things around if you just open your eyes and look.
Yeah.
You know, the bees are pollinating, but the honey brings the money. Just simple things like that. A grasshopper cannot jump backwards. The same with a kangaroo. When you see a kangaroo, it's forward motion.
It's only going forward, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the little things like that. But if you just alert yourself. Now, when I'm putting the essences on the land, if there's a bird anywhere, I will watch what it's doing and go, okay, so that's where that needs to go.
Yeah.
Or you'll get a raptor and it flaps on that particular point. And when you get there, it's quite clear that it was saying, hello, please come and drop those essences right here. Yeah. It's just amazing how nature will talk to you. If you're watching horses, I did a property years ago, and the horse had its ears flat back, and it was like, oh, you're not happy with me at all. And I just looked across, it was in the other property, and I said, it's okay, it'll be okay soon, just hang in there. So I ran the essences, and that would have been Hode's and Buffalo essence to form a grid line.
Yeah.
When I'd placed that grid line along and walked back where I'd come from, the horse was over the fence with the ears in a normal position saying, thanks, I can feel that. It's amazing when you open up to spirit. So, another one I did was fruit, plums, apricots, peaches. I was there in this area, and I said to the guy, I said, oh, this is interesting. I said, you're going to have a good harvest. That's a hawk. And he looked at me and he went, oh, okay. And he said, come, Italian. So he takes me over and he shows me the blossoms. Look, big, good harvest. And I just was like gobsmacked because he confirmed what the hawk was telling me, and I knew of a good harvest.
How long are you staying here for? Will you have time to do anyone's houses if people actually do want to get their properties?
The only time I will have is Friday and Saturday night would be the only time that I could. Anybody desperately wants me, I can go to their land, I can feel it all out, I will give the land the healing that my physical body does, then come home and post the essences, telling them where they need to place them. So there's always a way this can work.
Like, what would you tell our listeners, like give them a little pearl of wisdom?
Listen, and it makes me emotional when I say it, because one of my sentences is, I lead a blessed life, and I want everybody to have that same blessed life.
Beautiful.
Just listen to their instinct and follow it through. It's never wrong.
Thank you. So, Roz Tilley.
I'm so excited.
Fantastic. And the song that we're going to go out with now is Fergal Sharkey and A Good Heart is Hard to Find.
Oh, lovely.
Beautiful. How does it get any better than this? Okay, I'm Mary-Lucille. This is Wild Honey, where I introduce people to the show. We have guests on, we play music.